Let's use the TI calculator in order to graph a scatterplot and a model that is quadratic. We're going to look at a table of values. There's an age group, but then we're going to use the middle age of that group to represent each age group, and then this is the percent of people who have ever played organized soccer. And so the younger group has the highest percentage, and then the older group has the lowest percentage. We see that. So part A says using a graphing calculator to draw the graph of the model and a scattergram of the data in the same viewing window. So I'm going to start by setting my viewing window. I notice that my independent variable, or my age, runs from 14.5 to 60. So I'm going to go ahead and set my x min at 10, a little below 14.5, and my x max at 65. And then my y values run from about 5% to about 39%. So I'm going to keep my y min at 0, and let's go up to 40%. Now my window should be set for this. I then need to go to the y equals button, and I want to input my data in order to graph this. And so I'm actually going to go to Stat, Edit. That's going to input my data. I have data left over, and so I'm going to go up to each of my column values and then make sure my L1 is highlighted and hit clear and enter. I'm going to do the same thing with L2. I'm going to hit clear and enter, and then I'm going to do L3, clear and enter. So now I have cleared out those. So in L1, I'm going to put my X values, 14.5, 21, 29.5, 39.5, 49.5, and 60. And in L2, I'm going to put the percent, 38.5, 30.5, 22.7, 16.8, 8.3, and 5.7. And then I'm just going to do a quick glance and make sure I have my pairs correctly. 14.5 and 38.5, 21 and 30.5, 29.5 and 22.7, 39.5 and 16.8, 49.5 and 8.3, 60 and 5.7. They look good. Let's start by graphing the scattergram. So I'm going to hit second, y equals. That's going to give me my stat plot. I'm going to hit enter, and I want to turn it on, so I'm going to hit enter again, and now on is blinking. The type is exactly what I want, a scatter plot, and my X list is in L1 and my Y list is in L2. And so I'm able to hit graph then, and I get my scatter plot. So I automatically can see that graph C can be eliminated because my data is decreasing. And then if I would like to also graph my equation, I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm going to put in this equation. 0.01, they have an a for their x variable. We're going to use x by clicking this button. Squared, here's the squared button. And then minus 1.4, again we're using x, plus 56.7, and I will graph that. And notice what that does is it gives a graph of the model along with the data points. And I noticed that it looks like it almost hits these, but the last two are right below it. And the graph that matches that the most is graph A. Oh, they gave me a window. Let's change my window to these. So I'm going to go to Window. My minimum is 10. My maximum is going to be changed to 80 instead of 65. And they tell me to use an X scale of 10 instead of 1. My Y min is 0. My Y max is 50. So we did pretty good deciding on those values. And then also they want that to go by 10. Let's see how that changes how our graph looks. Our graph looks almost identical. We get a little bit more graph, and things are, I don't have as many marks along the axis. but I can see that graph A matches that. Does the model fit the data well? Well, it goes through exactly 2 of the points. These 2 it's getting off, but it looks pretty good, like a pretty good guess. And then it says substitute a value for one of the variables in the model's equation to estimate the percentage of 25-year-old people who have ever played organized soccer. So I need to put the age of 25 into that A variable. I can also go to trace and kind of go along and see each one of those points. But what if I would like to put in a data value? I can go to second, trace, and then hit enter, and it says value, and I can put an X value in, and I would like to put in 25 for a 25-year-old, and it tells me the Y value using this model is 27.95. It says round to 1 decimal place, so that 5 is going to make this 9 round to a 10, so 28 is going to be the percentage. And it says use minimum on a graphing calculator to find the vertex of the model. So we will again hit second calc, and I see that the third one down is minimum. I'm going to hit enter. And I need a left bound on my curve, which that's to the left of the minimum value. So we'll hit enter. And then need a right bound. And so my minimum value should be over here. So I'm going to toggle over using my right arrow key until I get to where I think it's starting to turn upwards. Let's say about there. That looks like kind of where it's flat, and then it looks like it's going to turn upwards again. We'll hit enter. This is our guess. And it said the minimum value is 69.999, so that's going to be 70 when I round to 2 decimal places, comma. So at age 70, that's the lowest age, that's the highest age we're going to get, and the lowest number, the lowest Y value at that vertex is 7.7. Oops. And that looks good. That's our vertex. What does it mean in this situation? It means the percentage of 70-year-old people who have ever played an organized sport is 7.7%, the smallest percentage of any age according to the model. Does the part of the parabola that lies to the right of the vertex describe the situation well? So here's my vertex, then I'm going to go to the right of the vertex. So my ages are going to get higher, and my graph is going to start going up again. So doubtful. No, the values of P will decrease on the part of the parabola that lies to the right of the vertex, or no, the values of P increase on the part of the parabola. But in real life situations, the percentage of people who have ever played organized sports is not going to increase after the age of 54. Use trace on the graphing calculator to estimate at what age 13% of people have ever played organized soccer. So now I want to guess an age. So I'm going to go to second trace. Oops, I'm sorry. Just trace. And I'm going to go till I want Y to be about 13%. And so Y is 16.8 at 39.5. And Y is, oh, it's tracing on my scatter plot. I'd like it to trace on my graph. Let's see if I can change that. Let's go to trace. Nope, it's still on. I'm going to go and turn my stat plot off. So I hit second stat plot, enter, off, enter. Now I'm going to go back to graph, and I'm just going to see my curve. The reason I did that is because when I was trying to use trace before, it was sticking on the scatter plot points, and I wasn't able to manipulate it so I could get about 13% of people. So at age 45, it's 13.95. So I want a lower percentage, So I'm going to keep going to the right. So at age 47.23, it's 12.88. And at age 46.4, it's 13.22. So it looks like about age 47. And we did it. Hope this helps you.